Hi, welcome to Acid Burn Saya. I'm Sarah, and today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in July. This is my July wrap up. In July I read 6 books this month. Sorry this video is going up a little bit later than I had originally planned. Unfortunately, I was in Poland on holiday, so I have to do a bit of a catch up on videos and everything, so yeah. First book that I read was Legendary by Stephanie Garber. This is the second book in the Caraval series, and I really enjoyed it. This book features more on Tella, the other sister, whereas the first one featured more on Scarlett. You do get to see Scarlett and Julian and other characters from it. We also get new characters that are featured in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I wanted to read the series, but I thought you need to read Caraval first, which you don't. But yes, I really enjoyed it. I can't remember the rating. I think I would have at least given it 4 stars because it was very, very good and really enjoyable, and I loved it. And I hope to, in August, to carry on and read the next book. But I lent them out to my aunt, so I'm reading on my ebook at the moment, on my Kindle. But I like the series because there's not swear words, there's no sex, and I feel like I can just recommend it quite easily to people, which is always a nice thing, is that it's easy to recommend to people. The second book that I read was Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I have no clue where I put the book. I have it. Do I know where I put it? No, of course I don't. Delia Owens, Where the Crawdads Sing. I had watched the movie and it came out and I hadn't read the book. My mum had and kept recommending it to me. Did I read it? No. I've read it in July though. You can see that in a reading vlog that I have, and you can watch that video about me reading it. And this is about a girl who lives in the marsh, and I think it's one of the Carolinas. I can't remember if it's North or South Carolina. And she ends up, her family all just abandon her, and she has to grow up by herself. And she is called the Marsh Girl. And as an adult, she then gets accused of murder and is trialed for murder, and you get flashbacks as to how she became who she is and why the town folk act the way they do towards her. It was very good. However, I feel like if you've watched the movie, you don't need to read the book, which I usually don't say at all. But the movie stayed so true to the book that I basically was like, why am I reading this? Because I watched the movie and everything in this was in the movie. So it's a very true adaptation. However, you might have a different opinion to it, which is fine. We all have different opinions. So that's fine. I have my own views on the ending, which I'm not going to talk about because this is spoiler free. So the third book that I read was Golden Girl. I read this because Sarah Corelli went on about how great this author was and how great she is to read in summer, and I wanted some summer vibes. So I only read her because of Sarah Corelli's recommendations. So I did enjoy it. It was a nice wee summer read. However, it was set in summer, and it was set in Nantucket. Author who ends up dying. She ends up dying, and because her death is unexpected, the angel guardian that's looking after her says, right, you can have 75 days to watch your family and I will give you 3 nudges. It follows her children and her ex-husband and his mistress and her best friend. I had very, very strong views about the ex-husband and felt like elements of the ex-husband, I thought they were too lenient on the ex-husband, but that's a different story for a different day. But it was enjoyable. I did enjoy it, and it was a bit sadder than I'd wanted, and a bit more cookie cutter than I'd wanted on some things. But I did talk about real life issues like grief and coping with divorce and everything. So it was very enjoyable that way. Number 4 is A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy I Lin. It's a YA fantasy book, and I really enjoyed it. It was really simple. It took me a bit to get into the magic system because the magic system is about tea, and it is the power of tea leaves and tea soaking and drinking tea. So it was very, very interesting. It was very enjoyable. It is a retelling which actually features quite a lot of characters that are mentioned in the Daughter of the Moon Goddess and everything. I finished that off and I really want to read the sequel. However, I can't find the sequel at a good price. So we shall see. We shall see what happens. I do want to continue this. This is about the tea bricks have been poisoned. So this daughter, her mother has died and her sister has been poisoned. So she goes off to compete in a competition for the emperor who she is hoping will give her, if she wins, the magic cure, some form of cure that apparently the emperor has. So she has gone to compete to save her sister. This isn't really a magic system that I have read before or heard before, so it was very, very different. I know other people have read this book and really enjoyed it, and I did too. I mean, I know like potions and everything and that sort of things, but that's fine. So however, it's left us in such a cliffhanger that I'm like, I want to read the sequel, but I can't. So I think I'm gonna wait and I'll see how I feel, because I'm reading other stuff at the moment. So I'm sorry, there's workmen going on somewhere. One of the other houses. Number 5 was Alone in the Ether by Olivie Blake. Olivie? I didn't like the Atlas 6. I didn't like that book. So this is the technically the third book that I've read by the author. And I enjoyed the start, and then I felt like at a certain point she started telling you what was happening. This is about, to be a different sort of romance, it is about two people. Charlotte Regan, who is nicknamed Regan. She is our counterfeit art thief, who is bipolar, and our Aldo, who is a very smart genius who, to cope with depression, starts thinking about ways to time travel, how time travel works, and how he could create time travel. So in the background you have this whole time travel thing, and I think at the start of their relationship, she said, Regan turns around to him and says, listen, if our love story doesn't work out, go back into the past and change it. And so you have this whole thing of, does time travel actually exist? Do they work out because no one has fixed it? So hello. I really enjoyed it up until a certain point, and then it all went a bit skew-with, and I felt like we were getting told things rather than watching them happen. We were just getting told things. So I then wasn't sure if the narrative changed. I think the narrative changed because of her mania, because her bipolar, because she had bipolar. So it changed whenever she stopped taking her pills. But what really got to me was that the author herself is bipolar, and so it really got me at the end whenever she talks about it. So it was very emotional at the end, with our author letter at the end. So 6th book that I read, I actually have the physical copy, and that is Taste by Stanley Tucci. This is his life with food. Oh, my life through food. And he talks about his life through food. He basically talks about moments in his life, but it's more food orientated, and it's a different sort of memoir than I'm used to, because memoirs, I'm used to them just talking about their life. He talks about special moments in his life that involve food, and talks about, because he is Italian himself, he don't know who Stanley Tucci is. He is an actor. He has been in the Hunger Games, The Devil Wears Prada, oh my goodness, The Lovely Bones, Burlesque. He has been in so much, like, you don't realize how much he has been in until, yeah. However, now, he wrote this book. It's it's less than 300 pages, and he wrote this book, and it feels like it links very much into his BBC TV series called Searching for Italy, which I definitely want to watch after reading this book, which is a good thing, yes. Talks about it in this, and he definitely talks about his Italian food, and I definitely did appreciate his recommendations food-wise, because I tried it myself while I was away. Now, he does have recipes in here for his books. He has done recipe books himself. So, for example, he's got a recipe for like a Christmas cocktail. You know, and he tells you what to do with it and everything. And he has gone through so much, and I feel like he just sort of glosses over some of it, which is fine. Well, there's a spaghetti with lentils recipe. It's all very different. Yeah, it was a very different book than what I would usually read, and it was good. I enjoyed it, and it was something that I will probably read again, because it's not something, it wasn't very hard to read. I know people that listen to this book to go to sleep as an audiobook. Yeah, I do recommend it. It's a little bit different though. It feels more like sort of him randomly talking about little moments in his life. Those are the books that I read. Please enjoy and like and comment if you like. Bye.